My name is Sandra Fiddler. Today I will be talking about cultural conflict and resolution. In this presentation, I'm not talking about cultural conflict with religion or politics. I'm referring to the conflict in the work environment with different cultures. I'm sure at some point in your professional career, you have shared your work environment with someone from another culture. Did you experience any challenges while working in this environment? Did you experience conflict? Many people have certain cultural frames that help them identify with different people or understand different people. This can also be called stereotyping. Right now, I will give you a scenario from my experience in the work world with cultural differences. A few years ago, I was given the task of comprising a quarterly business review for one of our largest customers to date. This report would comprise of our domestic market as well as our international market. My team, who's located in Omaha, Nebraska at the headquarters, put in 100% efforts into making this report the best it could be. Once we had finished with our portion of the report, we reached out to our Mexico division and requested their portion of the quarterly review. To our surprise, they had no information to provide us. We didn't communicate prior to each individual working on the report. We assumed that this was an important project, that everyone knew their role, and that everyone would put in 100% efforts to complete the quarterly business review for our customer. I ended up having to give the Mexico group a deadline. I had asked for them to provide their information in the next 2 weeks so that we can comprise all of our information and all of our reporting numbers to make sure everything coincided and made sense. In those 2 weeks, we had no feedback from the Mexico group. We reached out to them a few times to make sure everything was on task, to see if they needed any help anywhere, and never once did they lead on that they needed help from us. The deadline came and passed. Monday morning, I reached out asking for the report that they reached out to the Mexico division asking for the report. They still had no information for us. At this point, I'm completely confused. I don't understand why they're not taking this serious. I don't understand why they have nothing available to provide the group that we can share, that we can collaborate on, that we can talk about. And I'm really frustrated. After expressing my frustration to them, we did finally receive their numbers and their portion of the QBR. And we were able to make a lot of corrections on their side, as well as ours, to make sure all the numbers matched, to make sure everything made sense. And we were able to present it to the customer, who was also happy with the information that we provided. Through this experience, I learned that there are many ways to communicate through different cultures. It is important to familiarize yourself with a different culture, especially if you're planning to work side by side. It's one thing if you're traveling, it's another thing if you're working side by side, but in the grand scheme of things, if you don't understand their frame and where they're coming from, then you're not going to understand their work ethics and their time management skills, and they're not going to have the same expectations that you have because you are from a different culture than they are. In my experience, if I had did a little more research on how the Hispanic culture uses their time management, I would have understood that the time in the Hispanic culture is very flexible. They really want to be able to personalize a lot of things, and they really want to be able to talk to people and really get to know things instead of having deadlines and reporting to do. Regardless of that, we were in a business where a report was due and situation was on a time schedule. My expectations for that group were lowered because I expected them to have the same priorities that I had when it came to doing the report and providing numbers and the information needed in a timely manner. But I also blame myself because I didn't familiarize myself with the Hispanic culture. I didn't realize that they really want to take a little bit of extra time to finesse things or to talk about things, and I didn't put forth that extra effort to allow them to do that. I did feel that there was a disconnect on the importance of time management and expectations between our cultures. While reflecting on the experiences and stress I put myself through, I realized that a resolution strategy for cultural conflict should be talked about. The win-win strategy provides a problem-solving approach rather than a combative one. Initially, I wanted to point fingers and stereotype the Hispanic culture, but instead I found the problem and I found a solving approach by learning and understanding the culture that helped to provide a resolution to the conflict. The win-win strategy requires excellent communication. In retrospect, I did not provide excellent communication. I assumed that they knew what was expected, and I assumed that they would work on their part of the report and have it done in a timely manner. Instead, I should have provided more communication. I should have completely kept talking with them and giving them more feedback and providing more solutions if they needed extra help. What I've learned a lot is that as a manager, you tend to have to treat some of your employees as if they were children. Some of them do need to continue to be pushed and encouraged and provide goals for them so that they can keep moving forward and keep progressing rather than staying still and stagnant. I also directed my energy towards the problem rather than pointing fingers, which also helped me resolve conflict and move towards a win-win strategy. The win-win strategy is comprised of a belief system. In this belief system, a manager cannot just walk through the emotions on how to handle a win-win situation. They actually must believe in the system and know how to make it work for them and make it work for the other party. Number one, cooperation is better than competition. A manager must be able to listen and believe in others' thoughts and opinions in order to reach cooperation and succeed together. It's not a 1 versus 1, it's a 1 plus 1 equals 2 scenario. Belief number 2, parties can be trusted. Everyone in the group can be trusted. Their opinions, their beliefs, the way they work. And I think that if I continued to trust in the Mexico group and I continued to talk with them and communicated with them on a regular basis, that things would have flowed a little easier and the deadlines may have been met closer to the deadline rather than a week later and scrambling to make sure things things were working. Belief number 3, status differences can be minimized. In this scenario, it's based on developing a listening climate where everyone is on the same page. Everyone feels comfortable enough to communicate, hey, I don't get this. I wish I had a little more information on this so that I could understand it more. Being able to communicate and ask questions, and this will help minimize perhaps my status and help them feel more comfortable talking to me and giving me feedback on the things that they need to help them succeed. And 4, mutual accepted solutions. Both parties can reach their goal in an acceptable manner. Everybody wants the end goal, and so working together, it becomes a win-win strategy. You win, I win. We work together, we finish the quarterly review, and we all win, and it's a success. That's the goal at the end of the day. Resolving conflict requires effective communication and listening skills. I wanted full control of the QBR because I didn't take the time to listen and communicate clearly. The Mexico group may have felt uncomfortable dealing with me and communicating with me. To conclude, I have learned that I need to effectively communicate and become a better listener in order for me to become a better manager, in order for me to help deal with cultural conflict, manager and subordinate conflict, and any work-related conflict, even personal conflict. Being able to listen and communicate on a clear basis will really help me succeed in that. Thank you for listening, and have a great day.